Good morning. Welcome to the Dave Fox Home Remodeling Show. I'm Gary Demas, and really glad to have you tuned in on this February 2nd here on WTVN 610 Radio in Columbus. And today I have Scott Hennick with me. Scott, thanks for being here.
My pleasure. How you doing?
Right. Good. Doing great. So today, Scott, is Groundhog Day. Did you know that?
I did not.
So we're going to have to watch that movie, Groundhog Day. Remember that?
Yes, I do. Bill Murray. Yep.
Yeah, that's
very
a funny movie.
Yep.
And it's also, what else is today?
Super Bowl Sunday, I think.
Super Bowl Sunday,
That's right.
So it's the only time that everyone turns the TV on to watch commercials, right?
They have some good ones planned, I understand.
Yeah, I hope so.
They're killing off the peanut this year.
All right. Well, that'll be interesting.
The Planters peanuts.
The Planters peanut. Okay. I
That's
didn't
what
know
I've
that
heard.
was coming.
That's what I've heard.
All right. We'll see if that comes true. All right. So last week I had a chance to talk to Mark and Adam from Greenscapes, and we talked about winter landscape. So do you have winter landscape at your house, Scott?
I don't know.
Yeah.
My wife would be the one to ask.
Yeah.
She knows more about that than I do.
Okay. Well, it was interesting because we were talking about the design of landscapes for homes and how you need to plan for winter too, because winter is so drab, and they were talking about there could be some colorful berries, some trees or bushes that have these red berries, and just gives a little bit of pop in the wintertime, which you need, right?
Yes.
Because everything is so drab.
Yeah, I think my mother-in-law has some plastic flowers planted
Does
in
she?
the front.
Well,
yes,
I
that
guess
are
that
bright
could provide
red.
some
Yep.
color.
Yep, I recall that.
I'm not sure if it would have the same effect as a real tree.
Natural vegetation.
Yeah. Okay, so someday I'll get over and look at those plastic flowers. It might be pretty interesting.
You're welcome to come over.
All right.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, Scott, so you are a design consultant here.
I am.
Mm-hmm.
I am.
So we're going to chat about a really cool project that you're doing right now.
That's correct.
Okay, but before we do that, I want everybody to know that they can go to they can email us at info@davefox.com if you ever have any suggestions for shows. We like hearing from our listeners. Sometimes you guys will have an idea for a show or a question about something you heard. And just like last week when we were talking about the outdoors and winter landscapes, if you missed that show and want to go hear that or any previously broadcast shows, you can go to davefoxradio.com. And there you can listen or watch. So we're actually recording this. Scott, you're being videotaped right now.
Yeah, I can feel it. Yes, I sense that. Yes.
Did you dress up for the occasion?
I did.
All right, awesome.
I did.
Okay, so if you want to see Scott firsthand, you can go to... We have a YouTube channel. That's kind of hard to find. It's easier just to go to Dave Fox Radio, and there you can see a little icon that you can listen or watch. So I invite you to do that. So today, Scott, we're going to be talking about the project of the month. And before we do that, why don't you just kind of introduce yourself to the listeners? I know you've been on several times, but maybe there's some new listeners that haven't heard you before. Well,
I am Scott Hennick, and I am a design consultant here for us at Dave Fox. I've been here for about 3.5 years. But it's my job to sort of introduce the client to the procedures that can help them get started, and then work them all the way through the very beginning processes of how to remodel, and then what it takes to get to a finished remodel project. Yeah. So guide them all the way through that. But, yep.
Great. So if someone calls in and wants to do some kind of a project, you would be the first person that they see face to face.
I would. I would.
And if you don't scare them away, then maybe they'll do something.
Don't scare them away. they can possibly get their remodeling done.
Okay.
That's right.
That's great. So, as you can tell, we like to have fun here, right?
This is the most fun I've had in years.
That's great.
Working up here. So, yes.
Yeah. So, Scott, you come from a very extensive background in windows and siding, exterior type stuff.
Yep.
I think what's interesting is we have 8 design consultants. Is that right?
Yes.
So they all have different backgrounds in this industry, and we have one, who's like. You are a window specialist, and then we have another
Greg.
fellow who has tons of experience in windows.
Yes,
we have
does.
some that have tons of experience in plumbing, and then some in electric.
Yes.
So it's neat how you guys get together and just kind of share your knowledge when you're working on projects.
It is a real team. It is a real team. I often tell clients that if they have me do their design work, that they're actually getting a whole team of a coordinated effort of a lot of other people.
Yeah. So we take all that combined experience. It's probably about 1,000 years worth, huh?
Maybe more. Yep, they're very, very knowledgeable in all aspects of the remodeling. So very capable.
Okay, so why don't you introduce us to this project that we're going to talk about today?
Well, I actually it started at a home show where I met these ladies that live in a house in the Victorian Village area. It's interesting because it's not an original to the village. It's actually where they have built a new home and made it look like it was built back in the day, if you will. But it's actually a rather modern home. It's 2-story home, full basement, and the ladies are interested in staying in there and basically living retirement there, or as some people might call it, aging in place. And that's where it all started. She kind of was walking around the home show, and it was late, and we were probably the only ones left there, and we just started talking about her.
She looked at you, felt sorry for you, thought, I'm going to give this guy needs
this lonely guy standing in these empty. It was late on one of the last days of a show, and we got to talking about aging in a place in a 2-story and how to get up and down, and lo and behold, the word elevator popped up.
Yeah.
And I said, there's nothing that would prevent you from putting an elevator in a home. I think we usually think of them as being in office buildings, but and so it just sort of went from there. So we're currently doing a little bit of an addition on the back of the home. We're putting another screen room on the home, and we've rearranged the second floor bathrooms and bedrooms, and installed a laundry room in the second floor. So they very happy with the progress moving forward. We've had, fortunately, really good weather, which makes it nice for the framers and stuff, and the excavating.
Yeah, I visited that project with Dave Schicks, our field manager. He and I go out every 2 weeks and look at jobs, and it was a very interesting project. It's an extensive project, isn't it?
Yes. So they went, and the elevator actually, we dug the foundations all the way to the basement, as opposed to just adding a crawl space. So the elevator goes from the basement, stops at the first floor, and then stops upstairs on the second floor. So, Todd's the project manager. So I talked to Todd out there, and he just loves working for those folks, and has a great time with them. They're just great people. Yep.
Yeah.
They have actually. Excuse me. I always encourage some of the clients, when we have a major remodel where you're taking a wall out, or you're exposing a lot of debris in the yard where you're working and stuff. You try to work and contain that as much as possible. But it's disruptive, so they offered to move out of the house, and actually are living directly behind the house in a much smaller space temporarily. So they're, but they also have a lot of dogs. And this way the dogs can still be close to the home, and they can still go in and out of the house. But I always encourage folks to maybe not try to live in the house with something larger like that.
When we're kind of touching almost every room in the house, it presents a challenge for sure.
Yeah, if there's a way to go live with mom or best friends, or
they can move in with you during the process.
I've offered on many occasions. I have lots of people living with me.
So what's a couple more, right?
What's a couple more?
Yeah. Okay, well, again, I'm talking with Scott Hennick. He's a design consultant here at Dave Fox. And Scott, really appreciate you being on the show this morning. So we're talking about this project of the month, and it's kind of cool. It's got an elevator. It goes clear from the basement up to the second floor. So right after this break, Scott, let's get into the nitty-gritty of this project. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the Dave Fox Home Remodeling Show. Really glad to have you listening in or maybe watching on our video. So say wave hi to him, Scott.
Hello,
All
everyone.
right. Okay, so we are talking to Scott. I am talking to Scott Hennick here. There's only one of me here at the moment. And Scott's a project manager. Scott has a lot of fun working here, and we have fun working with him because he's got a little bit of a sense of humor. Every now and then you say something that's kind of funny.
I know. I save the jokes for special occasions.
Do you? Do you have a joke for us?
Yes. No jokes today. No jokes today.
Did Jamie tell you, Scott, no jokes on the radio?
You heard that. Okay. Yes, she actually did. She
All
said.
right. And we listen to Jamie. We do what she says. We don't want to get in trouble. Okay. So we're talking about this project. It was in Victorian Village. So they have an elevator that goes from the foundation to the second floor. And you mentioned that this elevator is in an addition that we're adding, correct?
Yes. Yeah. We needed the space. So short of putting an elevator shaft just by itself out and hanging it on the side of the house, we used the opportunity to enlarge the kitchen area and enlarge the second floor bedroom, master bedroom, and to bring that all out another, I think we came out about 10 or 11 feet from the back of the house.
Okay. Now, was this part of the original idea, or did this kind of grow?
It kind of grew as we were talking, as you see what's all involved in getting the elevator shaft into the house, and how much room that would have taken up. There's all different size of elevators, I'm finding out, and there's all different ways to do it. But in this particular case, to get enough room in an elevator, if you ever needed assistance or even two people in the elevator, it would take up a little bit more room. So we added up a little extra onto the outside of the house, and then we actually built a little bit of a smaller room on the outside as an entryway that they can use as a mud room, a stopping point before they get in the elevator, if you will, and out of the weather, as opposed to opening an elevator door to the outside elements, that. So it all worked well, and they got the extra room for the kitchen. They got the extra room for the bedroom and extra closet space, and it's worked out well. Yep.
We've done a number of elevators, and they seem to be getting more and more popular, especially if people do want to age in place in their home. It just makes sense. Or sometimes an elderly parent will move in with a family, and so most of the time we try to find a place in the floor plan to put it. And that can be really challenging. I mean, there's not often a floor plan that will accommodate an elevator just stuck in the plan. Occasionally, it happens.
Yeah.
And I can remember one I worked on where we were able to do that. Just the way the house was built, it lended itself to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But sometimes you're just forced to add it on the exterior, right?
Yeah.
Which was the case here.
Yeah. Her home is very open. As a matter of fact, the interior walls are. Well, on the first floor, there are none. Yeah, it is all open except for the powder room and a closet area. So it's not a very wide home. So the floor joists span the entire width from the exterior wall. So there was no interior closet to catch an elevator shaft or next to a stairwell. Sometimes they're nice because they go all the way up. But it's better than the fireman's pole that I was going to put in.
They're easier to get down than up. But
although the fireman's pole takes up much less room.
That's true. It's a lot more economical too.
Yeah.
Except for the hospital bills. Okay, Scott. So you met these folks at the Home and Garden Show.
Yes.
And so when you first went out to the home, obviously we've talked about what this project has kind of turned into, but when you first went out and talked to them, how did that conversation go?
It was mostly, it started with discussion of the elevator, and then when we sort of talked about maybe bumping the back of the house out, it turned into more of a remodel than I think even our clients had envisioned. But I think they both had come to the realization that they wanted to stay in the home, and they wanted to make it as much as easy access as they could make it as the years go by. And they have a lot of family too, and they have a lot of gatherings there, and it was nice to. As we started remodeling the first floor, that sort of goes into the second floor. That's where the elevator's going, which then turned into sort of remodeling the master bedroom and bathroom area. And they had a very unusual laundry situation upstairs. So washer and dryer was basically in a closet, and you stood in the hallway while you did the laundry. It was really. So we discussed moving that maybe into the office area, which they don't use so much anymore, and created a nice big laundry room that can be used up there. And then we used that closet space to enlarge their tub and shower area in the master bath, which was really nice for them because the tub is that's a whole nother story, but a tub is, this particular tub is a quick drain walk-in tub.
Okay.
So, which again fits with the idea of being able to stay in the house even if you're not at your peak physical performance, and you can get in and out. Those quick drain tubs are amazing. You used to have to sit in the tub and wait 15 minutes for the water to drain out. And now you can they can empty in about 3 minutes.
Oh, that's
so
nice.
You can, because you obviously can't open the door.
Are they quick fill too?
Yep. And they don't take up quite as much water as you would think, no more than a regular tub. But that was a nice feature for them. And then the shower got enlarged, and the master closet got enlarged.
Yeah. It's interesting how that conversation goes when you first come out to a home, because homeowners, well, sometimes they have phenomenal ideas and have really thought it out well and pretty much have nailed it. And other times they start with an idea, and then as you or one of our consultants goes out, you can kind of look at their needs and look at situations to recommend things, and then it's interesting where it ends up. Yeah.
There've been times you've gone out on just appointments, or initially just to look at a half bath or a powder room, and you end up going. I think a lot of people generally sort of stick their toe in the water first with sort of get a feel for how you are and how your company operates, and they do a lot of research anymore. Obviously, it's very easy to research companies, and I think they feel comfortable with us, and I don't think you could find a better workforce in any company, and the men are just amazing with the clients, and so the referrals and stuff, they feel comfortable with moving forward with larger projects, and it is a real trust thing when you take somebody's wall off of their house.
No kidding. Yeah, trust is such a huge factor because we're virtually living with the folks, during that project, and so the people we hire who are working in people's homes, it's a whole different scenario than new construction or commercial work. It's a completely different world.
Yes, it's very intimate when you take the kitchen away from a housewife or a family. They're like, when am I getting my kitchen back?
Yeah, and it's fun to talk to clients at the end of that process, because it's like, well, they're glad to see us go, but they will really miss the guys.
They do.
That's the way it goes. Yep. Okay, so we're talking. I'm talking to Scott about his project of the month. It's started off to be an elevator, and had to add space on the exterior of the home, right, Scott? Because as we talked, a lot of times it can be very difficult to find a house or a spot inside a floor plan. It's not impossible, but can be challenging. And you mentioned these folks are committed to the house; they want to stay there. So putting an elevator in is a significant investment. And if you're going to stay in a home, you're committed to it, and it's all about lifestyle. Then we have a lot of people that are doing that.
Yep. The elevator comes with its own set of mechanicals, and you have to build a shaft, and there's electricians, there's the framers, there's
takes all that stuff to put a project together.
It takes it all.
Right. Okay. So we're going to take a quick break. After the break, we want to talk about some of the challenges that we ran into on this project. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the Dave Fox Home Remodeling Show. I'm Gary Demas. I'm president of Dave Fox Design Builder Remodelers, and we appreciate everyone tuning in this morning on this February 2nd. Hope you enjoy the Super Bowl today if you're going to watch it. And for those of you that don't like football, you'll be watching it for the commercials. So, Scott, do you have anybody in your family that does not like football but will be watching the commercials?
Yeah, I have my mother-in-law lives with me. She's more interested in the Puppy Bowl, I think, that plays at the same time on the Animal Channel.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, they have the puppies run around.
Well,
the
her and three
field.
other people can watch that.
Everybody else will watch the commercials.
That's right.
Yeah, it's incredible how that.
Okay, so we're talking about this project in Victorian Village, right?
Yes.
And it's kind of unusual because there were about 7 or so homes that were built 10 years ago, or
yeah, about 13 years ago, I think.
Ago.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I guess it was just a big vacant lot, or something was torn down, or
yes, there was a school, and the name escapes me, but
so
it was a landmark in Columbus.
Land available for people to build homes, and the homes were built more towards that era. I mean, the architecture matches.
Absolutely. Yep.
So this house, though the exterior looked more period, the interior had a more up-to-date floor plan where it was a lot of open spaces.
Correct.
Yeah, which made it impossible to put an elevator inside there, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. And so we had to build that extra room for it. Mm-hmm. We also took her. She had a fireplace in the middle of that area, the kitchen, living room area, and that was removed. And inside the fireplace box, if you will, is a lot of the heating and air conditioning ductwork coming up from the basement that feeds the second floor. Mm-hmm. And I think some of the challenges, as you say, with a home that has a very limited interior wall space is to get those heating and cooling ducts to the second floor.
True.
And that's kind of what we're dealing with even as we speak. Because there's some that you can't really twist and turn a heat run as much as you might think.
Yeah, you can have wireless electricity, but you can't have ductless and ducts, right?
Yeah, you've got to get the heat.
Doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way.
At least not yet. Maybe they'll come up with that someday.
Yep. So we're trying to figure out some of the better ways to get without eating up too much space in the new addition. So
yeah. Now, being a historic area, what was the permitting process like?
Oh, well, you have to apply. First, you have to come up with your drawings and your renderings of your concepts, your conceptual elevations with color and as detailed as you can get it. And you apply for the architectural review of, in this case, Victorian Village. Mm-hmm. And the board will has a hearing. Then you take and submit your drawings and go down, and they offer their tremendous insight with the historical preservation of the community and what they would like to see and maybe not see. And some of the things you might think are just silly or ridiculous, but there's a reason, because they're trying to keep the neighborhood in that period as much as possible. Mm-hmm. So you might want to put landscaping stone steps on or something, but they would have never been available back in the day when these homes were built. So they might just want you to have a simple concrete step, which would have been more of the period, things of that nature.
Yeah. Sometimes going to those meetings is like going before a judge, you know. Is he guilty? Is he going to prison for 10 years for coming up with this plan?
I was trying to be nice. Yeah, they can be a little strict. There's several communities in Columbus that really keep an eye on the architectural preservation, and we've really, I love working with them, and the excuse me, the men that work on our projects, some of the things they replicate, just amazing. Because the people that used to do that kind of woodwork or that kind of plaster are not being trained anymore in that field, so to speak, and everything is sort of
artisans.
Yeah. So I'm always amazed. Sometimes it's always amazed when I go out to the jobs where there's historical going on and see what in the field what they've been able to. I mean, I can put it on paper, I can draw it, I can, but they would to make them actually for them to be able to make that and make it look like it's been there for 120 years is just amazing.
And they love doing that too.
Yep.
Yeah, they love a challenge.
Yep.
anybody that works with their hands, they get a huge reward out of the things they make. So if they have a challenging project or something that's particularly difficult, they just find a great enjoyment in doing that and being proud of what they did when they're done.
They're just amazing, honestly amazing.
Okay, so our clients worked with one of our interior designers on this project.
That was Andrea.
Andrea?
Yep.
Okay, and talk a little bit about that process.
Well, Andrea has a real good feel for what the clients want. Several meetings. Obviously, I don't know how many, but there have been several meetings with Andrea and them. Mm-hmm. They've reworked the entire bathroom and laundry room, and there's a lot of cabinetry and countertops and paint colors and trim and flooring. In the shower, they're doing a very unique glass block shower partition wall. And that was interesting. The ones that Andrea came up with are just stunningly attractive. They're not your typical glass block. Where she found these, I have no idea.
Really?
But that's one of the things that amazes me about the interior design department is their ability to come up with things that very unique.
Yeah, and that is fun because, you can be, a stunning design can be a lot of different things coming together, and it doesn't always have to be expensive materials or products. Just creativity in a design with very basic products can make a project look stunning. Or you can have clients that are willing to spend a lot of money on fixtures or any of the materials, hardware, that goes into a project. So obviously that's going to make a stunning statement too. But that's where our interior designers really come in handy with the creativity to really take any level of quality of materials and just create something that's very unique and very stunning.
Yep. They have some. Andrea's currently working with, if I can say, Northern Lighting, and they're they have a monorail track lighting system on the first and second floor.
Mm-hmm. I remember seeing that.
Yeah. And they want to sort of incorporate that into the new.
Okay.
But it's really a fun system. You can sit there and just trace where you want the lighting to go. S pattern, scroll patterns, and it lights up the house without having this rigid sort of a square box you can move all along the track. Very interesting.
Yeah, there's so many creative aspects to lighting nowadays with all the products and fixtures they have available. It's just expanded, just immeasurably over the last few years. And we were talking about that. I was talking about that to the guys from Greenscapes, Mark and Adam, about exterior landscape lighting, how that's a huge deal.
Oh,
and there's
yeah.
so much that you can do. And lighting plays such an important part, whether it's in the home or outside the home. And I think we as homeowners were trained years ago that, hey, if it lights up a room, it's fine. But today, that's not the case. All the drama that can be added with really good lighting just makes a world of difference.
Oh, yeah. It can make or break your design, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So these folks worked with Andrea on interior design aspects. So she would have come up with drawings for them and renderings so they could picture what they were putting together. Did these folks do any virtual reality?
They didn't.
Okay.
They did not. Yeah. We, of course, have 3D renderings we can put on the computers, and but no, the actual put the goggles on and walk through the space.
So for some projects that makes sense. For some doesn't. But we usually try to do that if it helps the client. So Scott, we're going to take a quick break after that. I'm going to talk a little bit about their lifestyle and how they'll be using this. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the Dave Fox Design Build Studios. And this is the Dave Fox Home Remodeling Show, right out of the studio in my own office. Right, Scott?
It's a beautiful place.
Well, I cleaned it up a little bit, today because you came for one. And also we're videotaping it, and I didn't want to. Oops. There we go. I just spilled some water. So.
I have
Scott,
nothing.
Run and get me a paper towel real quick.
Okay, I'll be right back.
So this is real live recording, right? So I've got my nice little Dave Fox cup here with water in it, which I just spilled all over my desk. So if you happen to be watching the video, you will have seen what just happened. And Scott's going to get a paper towel and grab that real quick. But we are doing our project of the month. And so, Scott, thank you for bringing the paper towels.
Oh, you're quite welcome.
Man, amazing. Okay.
I've raised a few children.
Okay. So I fit right in.
I've knocked over a few glasses myself.
All right.
You didn't get it on the
Electronics?
the electronics,
Right.
though.
That's good. Okay, so we're talking about this elevator project. And obviously, lifestyle plays a huge role with our clients. That's why they're remodeling their homes. They like their house. They like the location. They want it to match their lifestyle and their living needs. And I think in the last 10 or 12 years, I've really seen people focus more on that than how much is my house worth after I remodel it.
Oh, I think there's no doubt of that. Yeah, there's the homes they're being kept now as opposed to maybe that thought of flipping your home over every 6 years or so and moving, so to speak, up and up and up. And I think the home values obviously are rising again after that decline. But
sure.
I think the decline made people think a little bit more about staying in their house. I know in my family, grandparents and such stayed in the house that they built. The house their first house. That's where I don't know as they moved. They stayed in that house their whole lives, raised their family, and then sort of aged there. And I can still remember some of the smaller things like we're talking about now that are larger things like barrier free showers and not having to step over thresholds in a bathroom or the elevator or no thresholds on the door and things of that nature that my grandparents were actually coming up with those themselves, easier ways to build a ramp or whatnot to get into the house. But as you stay in a home, and I think people are realizing that their home is their home, not necessarily it is a big investment. I don't mean to say it isn't, but I think
people are investing more in lifestyle.
Yeah.
They realize this is an investment in their family and their living experience. And just like, the elevator obviously is going to make great sense for these ladies as they grow older. It's just going to enable them to live in that house and not have physical impairments hold them back.
Yep. It's it's great for the nieces and nephews that come to visit them who are going to decorate the inside of the elevator and make it their own.
Yeah.
Ride up and down the elevator.
Yeah, true.
It'll be the conversation piece of the family.
Of themselves in there.
Yeah, hang pictures. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Anyhow, the idea of really improving your home for your lifestyle, we see that really in every aspect, in kitchens and baths. Because if you think about it, every single day you're taking a shower in your bathroom.
Oh.
And that's your living area. That's your kind of private retreat area. So why not have that really nice and enjoy it, right?
Yeah. That's the area that certainly gets used.
That's what people are doing. Yep. So in this home, they did their master.
Yep. They
bathroom.
did. They actually did 2 bathrooms upstairs.
Okay.
I guess I'm calling one the master. It's almost to where there's 2 master bathroom suites.
Okay.
And they've updated both the bathrooms. The one was more extensive. It has I think I mentioned earlier, the walk-in tub and a larger shower and new vanities and new countertops. And we enlarged the closet to make it more accessible. The other one is more of a just replacing some of the fixtures, making the counter the right height, making the toilet the right height.
Yeah.
Sometimes toilets can be a little bit too low.
Yeah.
I don't.
It's like, hey, will you help me get up? Give me a hand. I got to get off of this toilet.
Yeah. It is sometimes it's a little embarrassing is wrong. Maybe uncomfortable to talk about toilets. But in a bathroom, toilets have come a long way. And as you talk about these bathroom fixtures, toilets and counter heights and barrier-free thresholds into the shower and things, you realize there's a lot of options that make it so much easier. The things you do, Just a quick story. Things we live with. I had a lady back when I was more in windows and doors, and she was considering her windows. And as I walked in the door, it didn't operate very well. It was sticky. It was really stuck. And she says, I have to close it with my hip, she says. So she takes the door and she bangs it with her hip. And she was like, she said, over 20 years, I've got this thing on my hip. I said, well, let me go look at the door. I took 2 screws out and fixed it. The door closed just fine, readjusted the screws. But yet for 20 years, she closed the door with her hip.
Wow.
So if you can improve anything in your house, we're going to help you make it easier to live in your house.
Yep. To stay in the home long term is important to a lot of people nowadays. And I think of my own parents. My dad's 94 and my mom's 90. Wow. And they're both still in the house, and they just keep ticking just like a Timex watch.
Good for you.
So, yeah, that's people today want to stay in their homes, I think, more. Not to say that it's a bad thing to go to an elderly living site. If that's important for some families, that works great. And it's just all depends on what people want to do. But we find more and more people that really want to stay in the home longer.
Yep, and we can make it easier for you to do that.
So what are these? What's the feedback from these clients so far? How are they getting along with everything?
They just love the guys. They love the progress of the job, and it's moving forward. The yard is small down there. If you've ever been to Victorian Village, there's there's no 5-acre lots down there that I'm aware of. So when you bring in a load of lumber and load of brick and blocks,
the logistics are pretty challenging in those tight spaces.
Yes. It is even dumpsters, placing dumpsters down there is interesting. But anyway, the progress is getting made. The weather's been great. Mostly, and at least for this time of the year, which makes it real handy to keep moving forward. And they really like the guys, and the guys really like them.
Great. So what's your favorite part of the project?
I suppose the elevator.
Okay.
I'd probably be kidding you if I didn't say that. I think it's neat to have, and I'm watching it come from nothing, and all the little. You have to heat this elevator shaft. You don't automatically have a register vent in an elevator shaft, but it needs to be heated.
Yeah, since it's on the exterior wall.
Yeah, and the mechanics of it, the hydraulics that are put in the basement, the cutouts for the basement to make it work. The doors are actually on 90 degrees from each other, so you don't just walk in one door and out the other one. There's one's on one side and one's on the other, so that you can get in from the outside, but then as you go upstairs and in the basement, you come out the other door.
Great. Well, Scott, it's been great talking to you today. Thanks for coming in the studio and chatting about this really cool project. Let's see, next week. So we've had some of our designers who went to the Kitchen and Bath Industry Show in Vegas.
They did.
So
it's been a little quiet around here.
Yeah, so they're coming back, and next Sunday I'm going to be speaking with them. We'll hear some of the design trends that are happening. So I appreciate everyone tuning in. This is Gary from Dave Fox Design Build Remodelers, and I'm here every Sunday morning at 8, and I look forward to having you listen or watch next Sunday. We'll be back.